Hi, I'm Colm Keegan, Product Marketing Manager at Veeam Software. Here we are at VeeamON in New Orleans. And joining me today is Patrick Rogers. He's the VP of Marketing and Product Management at Cohesity. Patrick, thanks for joining us today.
You bet. Thank you for having me, Colm.
Great to have you here. So for those of our viewers who may not be familiar with Cohesity, could you give us a brief background on your organization?
Sure. Yeah, so Cohesity is a relatively new company, 3 years old. We are approaching the problem of secondary storage proliferation, consolidating all that onto a single web-scale platform. So it covers a variety of workloads, data protection workloads, analytics, test and dev, file services. Why not consolidate all that? We've been growing extremely fast. We now have over 100 large enterprise accounts. We now have 200 people in the company. We've had a very successful set of installations with Veeam, in fact, and we're excited to be here.
Great. I think two of the things that a lot of organizations are trying to do is drive out cost and complexity, and I'll add a third one in there, mitigate risk. And I see a lot of synergies in terms of what we do from preventing more VM sprawl. And if I'm getting this right, I think you're doing a lot in terms of data sprawl. Can you talk a little bit about that? Yeah,
sure. So it's interesting that you brought that up because in the Gartner Cool Vendor for Storage Technologies report that just came out yesterday, they did a survey of IT managers and said, what is the #1 issue around storage technology? And they said managing data growth. So it's exactly the sprawl issue. And then the #3 issue on the list was having the budget to accommodate all the storage you need to invest in. And that's really the problem that Cohesity's focused on. And I would compare it to the idea of a smartphone. So prior to a smartphone, we all were walking around with individual phone devices. We had a GPS, we had a camera, we had a handheld email device, and all of those were excellent in what they did. But then the smartphone came along and consolidated all that into one device.
And now you got dozens of applications in your pocket, right? And it's a lot easier as a user to have everything on one device versus walking around with 4, 5, 6 different devices.
Exactly. So, and you could do things with your data that you never could before.
Sure.
Right? So attach an image to a text message.
Sure.
Wow. Yep. Have your phone contacts integrated with your email contacts, right? Be able to search for anything on this device. That's really cool. Even use it as a flashlight or as a barcode scanner. Right, so that's the same principle that we're applying to secondary storage. All these unique architectures over time developed and were optimized for backup, or were optimized for data warehousing, or optimized for file shares. There's huge benefit because it's all storage at the end of the day, if you can consolidate this and make better use and more efficient use of that infrastructure.
So just to clarify on the tier 2 data side of it, if I'm understanding this correctly, this is not necessarily your business critical data or the data that's super active in your environment, but it's everything that sits behind it that actually supports those applications that you still have a need for. Am I getting that right?
You have it exactly right. So if you look at a typical data center today, we liken it to an iceberg. Sure. So above the surface of the water is all your primary data storage for your primary mission critical applications. Mm-hmm. But behind that, the other 80% of the mass or the capacity is all the secondary storage workloads. So that's all your backup data, all your archive data, all your test dev instances, right? All your analytics. And in each and every one of those different workloads, different architectures have been developed. In fact, there's multiple copies of the data across those different architectures. Everything you backed up can also exist in your analytics in your data warehouse, right? For running reports. What value does that replication bring?
No, and it just drives up costs, and this is a problem that we've been living with for a long time. And despite the fact that we've had things like deduplication appliances and other storage efficiency technologies, we're still living with a lot of silos of these platforms out there. So it sounds like you guys are really taking an approach of, hey, let's create a target, and then Veeam, for example, could point to that as the backup repository. Exactly. But then on the flip side, you can actually use that in production too, right?
That's right. So you could turn around and all that data that you've now backed up through Veeam to a scale out, target storage platform that Cohesity provides, now can be used for other purposes. So that backup copy is no longer just an insurance policy sitting idle. Why not use that same data to provision test dev for your developers, right? Why not use it to run analytics? Why not use it for searching and recovering important information that you need for compliance?
Makes a lot of sense. And then maybe real quickly, and then we'll wrap up here, I also think that from reading your literature, you can also do some stuff from a cloud tiering perspective. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Exactly. So everything that we do on premises is operable in the cloud as well. So, we can archive into the cloud, tier into the cloud, replicate in the cloud. Our software can run in the cloud. So that's the beauty of a software-defined architecture for secondary storage. It can run everywhere and anywhere. And we love working with Veeam because, now together we're really simplifying that whole infrastructure. Veeam bringing together all the backup workloads, and then Cohesity solving the problem of secondary storage sprawl.
And from a hybrid cloud perspective, it doesn't matter where the workload lives, we can ensure the availability and the protection of those, critical data assets. And likewise, you can give customers the opportunity to lower costs because you're driving costs out of the data center and then using the cloud as an auxiliary, storage device, if you will, to drive further costs out of the infrastructure.
That's exactly right. You got it.
That's great. Well, Patrick, thanks for being here today. Thanks for joining us on VeeamON. I'm Colm Keegan from Veeam Software. Thank you.